right, welcome to Forward Focus Podcast. Well, we don't give a fuck about Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh
We've
yeah,
got better stuff to do.
yeah. I got someone text me right now about that. So I'm really looking forward to the drama that happens with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, over under on if she gets proposed to tonight.
She will not,
No,
but she
yeah,
will write a song. If she does, she'll write a song about it. If she doesn't, she will write a song about it. So either way, she's gonna make $1 million out of this.
more than that. Everyone's waiting. Did you grow up listening to Usher?
Yeah, yeah. I think in middle school dance they played Usher.
What songs does Usher
It
do?
was considered scandalous.
What songs does Usher do?
I don't know what they're called. If you played the song, I would know hearing it, but I don't. I don't know their names. The songs.
Oh, you
Yeah.
homeschooled boy.
No, I was in school. I heard it.
Okay. Oh
Go
yeah,
to
you
school
were
dances.
homecoming king. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Had a queen that wasn't me,
that happened.
but
I think she's transitioning now into a man.
Forward Focus Podcast episode 4.
Fun fact.
We've been feeling really good. We've got like some
It
comments.
was not my fault.
We've
Just gonna put it out there.
let it die. We've got some comments. We've got some subscribers. My
Yeah.
dad still watches, I think. So thanks if you watch us talk about women's hockey. That's pretty cool.
Very exciting.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us. Just a grumpy old married couple. And I don't know anything about hockey. I don't know. It's fun to learn.
In our prime, not old, grumpy yet.
That's true. But I do often describe you as a 35-year-old man trapped in the mind of an 85-year-old man.
Yeah, I would say my mind is trapped in the. Yeah, I would say that's correct. 85-year-old man. Sense of humor of a 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Ambitions of an 18-year-old. So yeah, it all sounds about right.
I was watching some PWHL interviews the other day, and I just want to do a fun thing. Okay,
Mm.
pretend I'm like the hottie ESPN hostess, not
Okay.
hostess like broadcaster. And I'm interviewing you. I'm a player. I'm a professional hockey player. Give me your best like intermission pro hockey player interview
So I'm
spiel.
interviewing you.
No, I'm interviewing you, and you're giving
Oh.
me. Yeah, give me your
The
best.
stereotypical answers.
Yeah, give me your best.
Okay.
What
fair.
do you think we need to do in the third period to really turn things around during this game?
I just think, we just got to play simple hockey, get pucks deep, finish our hits, like play for each other. It's not about ourselves, it's about the team in the day. So, yeah, just got to get pucks deep and get pucks in net. Stay out of the box, play smart hockey.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things I've been paying attention to the last couple of days. Stars of the week are announced every Monday for the PWHL. Stars of the week this week were Natalie Spooner. Stars of the week this week were. I'm gonna give him his pappy. So vocal. I'll edit all of this out.
Started it.
The microphone's right by him, so just be mindful of that. Okay. Ow. This is going well.
This might be our most entertaining episode yet.
Yeah. Stars of the week this week. Number 1, Natalie Spooner. She's Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling you, we didn't watch this. This week has been really bad for us personally.
Financially.
And emotionally. But our marriage is great. We're holding strong. It's not about that. It's everything else.
Financially.
Toronto won 4-1 over Minnesota, which is
Yeah.
like an upset of upsets.
And that surprised me too, because Minnesota has.
You have the best team in the league and the worst team in the league.
Well, I mean, again, the two somehow game difference, and because the way the point system is set up, it's kind of deceiving. But just like special teams wise, like Minnesota has the better special team percentages, winning percentage, goal per period percentage. So a little bit of surprise, but I mean that is the beauty of hockey is really standings don't give a great indication of ability necessarily. Obviously, Toronto did a really nice job in preparation, and I'm just excited that Toronto got a victory.
Okay, so no surprise, second star of the week, we've talked about her on the podcast before, was Alex Carpenter from New York.
Yep.
She won both got the game tying and game winning goal for New York last week. And then third was Abby Roque. She was New York as well. She assisted on the game tying goal and the game winning goal. But the thing that I was curious about is when you look at the stars of the week, they have like a standings for all the players, and like one star is like 30 points, second star is 20 points, and third star is 10. And I might be off on that, but they're like, you get a certain amount of points if you get first star, second star, third star. And
Uh,
then it like they have a standings list of all the players based on the stars they've gotten. Is that something the NHL does? I've never seen that before. And also, what on earth would that do or mean? Or does it add more
um,
value to the player for like signing next season trades? Like, what is why?
I yeah, I don't the NHL. Not that I know of, doesn't do that.
Yeah,
Though Alex Ovechkin did set a record for most empty net goals ever by any player. Fun fact. But I mean, maybe that would help a player, maybe negotiations or. But I think that's completely just for the
it's like
fans.
original. Because I
You know
know,
where
like,
where it would tie into if you gamble on games.
true.
That's where we're tied into online betting.
Junior hockey does star of the week, so
Yeah,
I'm not foreign to the concept of stars of the week. I just never like knew it would or could be associated with like a point system. So
yeah,
I
I've
wanted to
never
get
seen
your
that.
insight. Like,
I mean, it's a clever idea, and I think for individual players, it probably helps motivate them. I don't know if there's a cash prize or something at the end, but yeah,
I
to
think
me,
it's
like
just
that'd
like
be really good for people who gamble.
contracts with bargaining power. I'm not worried about gamblers.
Maybe, maybe in this league, yes, because there's so few teams and players.
Or maybe I am like shooting completely off the cuff. I don't know this at all. You know how in some contracts, I'm speaking to coaches, you have
Uh,
certain bonuses that if you do X, you get X amount of dollars, right? Like if you get X amount of kids committed to college, you get 5 grand more, like at the end of the year, or whatever. Like I'm speaking in hypotheticals. You have incentives to a contract.
yeah, in pro hockey, it's probably like winning percentage, playoffs, championship,
Maybe they have like it
stuff like
ties
that.
into like contract incentives. Like if you get,
Yeah,
X amount of points, like you get 5 grand at the end of the year on top of your pay. Like
yeah, maybe. I mean, because it's more viewership for that program.
I've actually
It's not
noticed
a
that like
bad thing.
all the same people they're putting out on the PWHL, not specific teams, the main PWHL Instagram. I see the same people all the time.
Sure,
Heisey is like fan
the
favorite.
superstars.
Sarah Nurse is a fan favorite. Um, who was the other one I noticed? Abby Roque. She's on like every. It's all the same people getting the attention, and I wonder if that has a correlation to like their
Maybe it's part of the marketing mindset, I
yeah.
suppose. But yeah, I mean, it's like any league. The NHL is no different. Like you're going to promote your superstars because those are the face of the league, face of the organization.
Yeah,
So
but in your inaugural year, how do you figure out who's gonna like get the people most excited and like put the same people on the social media? You know what I mean? Like, how did they determine that?
well, I imagine the best players in the league determine that. So they have a number of players that are coming in with already with Olympic experience.
I wouldn't say that because Marie Phillip is like the veteran of the league, from what I know,
Sure.
and she's not on all of the like I'm not seeing her show up as much on all of the marketing materials. That being said, I think I could be wrong. I think she's one of the older players in the league,
Yeah.
not one of the younger gals. So, like I wonder if that
Are you
ties
saying
into it
sex
too.
sells?
No, it's not about sex. I don't think hockey's really a sexy sport, to be honest with you.
It is
Um,
women's sport. Like some big wig up in that marketing is probably has slipped that into part of it. I imagine.
I don't think this has to do with sex at all. I could see volleyball being like a sexy sport because like they aren't wearing clothes, but like these girls are stinky, sweaty, in 3 layers of clothing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just like your best players, your superstars are the easiest way to
Everyone
brand
assumes
your.
women hockey players are lesbians. It's not a sexy sport. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, I
I
mean,
guess
yeah,
lesbians could be sexy. I'll get off this soapbox, but like, I'm sorry, lesbians are sexy in their yes.
we're gonna get canceled.
I know. I know.
It's your fault. Well,
Um,
no, I started it.
yeah. But I think you see what I'm saying.
Don't
You know what
cancel
I
us.
mean?
We have two children that need to eat. Not that we
Like
get paid from
I
this
guess what I'm
at
trying to
all.
say is a straight man wouldn't look at that and be like, "Oh, I have a chance," because they all assume like softball. It's
No,
like a
but
stereotype,
again, a
you
straight
know?
guy like sees a better looking woman, he's gonna stop and read necessarily. Not me, because
Okay.
I'm happily married and I don't look
Yeah,
at other
no,
women.
I see what you're saying. But even Marie Phillips, she's when I say older, I mean I think she's like 32, you know?
Sure.
Like she's not old, right?
Old for
Like,
at least pro hockey players.
but from a sex cell standpoint, 32 isn't old. So I don't know. I
I
just
don't
think
know.
it's really interesting to like try
That
to
would be interesting to kind of dive
dive
into, I
into, figure
suppose.
out why like the same people are showing up over and over again as like the
Yeah.
mainstays of the
And
marketing.
maybe it's something to do with their contracts when they signed. Maybe that was part of their
And maybe it's
contracts.
just the people who are more willing to do it. Like a quote
True.
unquote older person, you're not on social media. Like you have accounts, but you don't post. Like you're not
Yeah, I know.
comfortable with that
I don't
stuff.
do it.
And if you're 35, she's I think 32, don't quote me. She might just not be up for that stuff as much. She might not be the first one to raise her hand versus like someone who's younger who's like, yeah, like I want the exposure, I want the follows, I want the brand
Maybe.
deals. Like
Yeah, maybe.
because a younger girl might see the ability to make additional income from the
Yeah.
fanfare and the follows. Like that makes sense. Where like a quote unquote older person is will prioritize like protecting their privacy, I
Yeah, especially if
think.
they have a family.
And I'm speaking in generalities, truly. Like I don't mean to stereotype, but
I think that ties all into that all like the point system for first star, second, third star,
they're two separate things. I started talking
huh?
about like just seeing the reoccurring faces on social media and
Yeah.
like some people just getting a lack of attention. Um
So you believe that more women should be promoted, or
Well, yeah, there's so many players that we haven't talked about on this podcast and that don't get a lot of attention, whether it's because they're not producing as much. I mean, that makes sense, right? But I mean, every roster needs depth. So, I mean, those players matter, and I would
yeah?
like to know more about them, see them get more attention. Like, and that could be just my own lack of research too. Like,
No, I mean that's spot on.
yeah.
Like again, the lesser players aren't the ones typically who are selling tickets.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just the way it goes, I guess. The more productive you are, the more attention you get, the more attention you get,
Yeah.
the more yeah. That makes sense. I watched some of the New York and Ottawa game. Ottawa, admittedly, is not a team we've like paid a lot of attention to this season.
Mm,
Just we haven't caught any of their games. Like we haven't watched them on live stream. Um, for me personally, I've paid most attention to like Minnesota, Montreal, not even knowing that they'd be two of the top teams. They're just kind of feel closest to us. Ottawa was kind of dominating the play. I think it was February 3rd, this game.
hmm
Um, they've had a 10-day break, which I also want to talk about later, but um, Ottawa was kind of dominating the play. I think they were up by 3, and then New York ended up scoring 3 goals in the third period, like back to back to back. Part of that was Alex Carpenter, which is why she ended up being the
Uh-huh.
second star, I think. Um, but New York ended up winning in an overtime win, which is kind of wild. Do you think they had no points up until the third period and then just like came out hard? So, kind of my question to you is like in people who don't see the insides of hockey, right? Like can only imagine what the coach is saying in between periods in the locker room. Like what if you were in that situation, like what do you find to be the most helpful when it comes to turning the energy around? Like, and I know I'm speaking to like coaching women versus coaching men, but like for you and what you do when like the energy's down, the morale is low, like it's looking like this just isn't our night. Like
hmm
what do you find to
My
be
game last night,
helpful?
because this happened last night. They scored 3 goals in two
Yeah, but
minutes.
whatever you did in
So
the locker room wasn't helpful.
yeah, no, that ship kept
I'm
sinking.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like, can you think to a time where things have like turned around like
No,
that
I
for
think it
you?
just it comes back to like, what is the mentality of the team? Like, what's your message? What's your culture built upon? Um, some groups have the personalities where like you can be really hard on them, and you can challenge them, and sometimes that means give them a kick in the butt, and they respond really well to that.
Like I perform
Some
really
groups do not do
well.
that. They shrink into a little ball because they like a lot of new younger players now don't take criticism very well, and they just kind of sink. So
Yeah.
like you have to kind of learn how to have a softer message. So it just comes down to it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like coaches have to set the pace. They have to kind of get a heartbeat when there isn't one. But it comes down to like your leadership group and your team. Teams that have good, strong leadership groups, like they can usually manage those in themselves. Teams whose leadership group is, maybe struggling or not as experienced, like struggle in those adverse moments. I would say
Yeah. Do you have like a tagline that's like worked for you in those situations or like
figure the f out.
that works?
It worked in the past. I
Is
don't
it
know about
like
this recently.
do you think it's like when you say things like that like their team like rallies for like fear of disappointing each other
No,
or like
well, yeah, sometimes. Like sometimes you just need one guy to kind of rally a group. Whether it's a guy who just busting his butt out there or your goalie. So
I feel like
sometimes
it's
you
like
sometimes you
mixed
make
for
it about
you.
well sometimes you have to make it about an individual because like you can't hide hard work. Guys who are the
Yeah.
hardest working guys, they showcase themselves, and usually those hardest working guys, as long as they're doing good details, like they're the best executing players.
Mm.
So sometimes you got to rally around those guys, and it might be your depth guys who everyone needs to rally around. Be like, hey, we need to kind of show the same energy and support as them. Um, Sometimes it's just being okay, realizing like, hey, we hit a really bad five, and we have to reset the clock and be better. Um,
For those who don't know Coach Valancourt, that's like God, I hate to be this morbid, but I think we're gonna engrave this on your tombstone is win this five.
yeah,
Win this five?
the next shift mentality.
Yeah,
So
I'm just
yeah, but
kidding.
it's tough. I mean, because it sucks all the wind out of your sail, and it takes like my group last night. It was the last 2 minutes of a period, so that's really tough to come back from because now not only are you going into the break, well, you've had no chance to kind of like build any energy back the other way,
Yeah.
but guys just now they feel on their heels and like so
Yeah.
it's a really tough scenario.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that you can apply that to anything. Like I'm in real estate and I talked to you about this a couple weeks ago. It's like I was just like I've been working really hard. I just need a little luck to catch some
Yeah, momentum's
momentum.
a real thing.
Like I just need some momentum. And I feel like with anyone's profession, like it feels like sometimes in life too, like when it rains, it pours. And you just need like one lucky bounce to turn things around. Like once you get like a shift in a positive direction, like
Yeah,
all of a sudden you get one goal and you know everyone changes, everyone's like attitude changes. It's like okay, we can do this, we're still in the fight.
yeah, but you earn your lucky bounces just like in
It's
hockey
hard
you
work
earn your lucky
and luck.
bounces. It's no different in life, like, but momentum's a real thing. Like when you have momentum, you want to carry that momentum, stay on the present. Like if the other team has momentum, you've got to find a way to quiet them down and regain it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean that's tough in a game like that, like they had the other night. That's a pretty tough situation to be in, whether it's a coach or as a player. But
Yeah, they
again,
found a way to
it's
do
so much
it,
harder at the pro level too because every mistake is a big detail. Every mistake leads you to a goal or a
Mm-hmm.
chance for.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't have the momentum, like that's why sometimes coaches are things go south. They call a timeout just to kind of like calm the group down. Like all right, we just
Yeah,
need a
take a
second.
breath. Yeah.
Plus, it gives the other team a second to kind of like dewind over there. So you
Yeah,
just don't
because
let them
they've
keep
got the
going.
momentum, right? You need to stop it.
Yeah,
That makes sense. I never thought about like timeouts that way as that kind of tool. Um,
yeah.
that's a really interesting insight. Thanks for sharing that. Um, Next up, so next games we've had a bit of a break.
Well, they had the All Star break going on.
Yeah, they have an all-star break going on. That's why the 10 days. Um, I saw they just announced on their social media they're doing like a Team Canada versus Team USA where they're
Yep.
combining. That's not a part of the all-star, is it?
I think
It was so vague. Like
they
there
did a
wasn't.
three and
It's
three.
different. It's different because this is new. So they announced it, but they didn't say like
So no, I don't think that's because All Star Weekend already
yeah.
passed.
They didn't say the days, the times, or like where you could watch it because it seems like every team, like Minnesota streams on Bally Sport. The Canadian teams stream somewhere different. Like everyone has a different
Network.
network that they have agreements with, which is really odd. Because like if I wanted to watch all the games, like I'd have to subscribe to three different
Well,
things.
I bet there's gonna be a ton of bragging rights in that game because Americans love to beat Canadians at hockey. Canadians hate to lose to
Yeah, they
Americans at
like split
hockey.
everyone up, but they didn't say when the game was, so that I feel like that'll be super interesting.
No, maybe they'll do that
Um,
after the season, or
it's hard because the season ends. I think the last game is the 28th of this month. The regular
well, I can
season
see them doing
games.
after then.
Maybe. Or maybe it's a part of this 10-day break and they just announced it late. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know.
Um, but that's another like I was looking at it and I was like, I want to know more. I want to watch it, but they just listed the rosters of each team and I couldn't tell. I was like, is this a joke? Is this supposed to be funny? Is this
You sure this didn't
actually
happen during the All
no, I
Star
don't
game?
think so. But that's another problem, right? Like whoever's doing their PR and I've been like really hounding on them. Like I want more information. Like it
Yeah,
didn't say like click the link in our bio and I went on their website and I didn't see anything about it. So
yeah, their
it's like
website's not great.
I just wish I had more cuz I want to be a good fan. I want to be involved and it's like it's almost like they make it hard sometimes like whoever does their marketing. It's
It's just
like
growing pains, I'm sure, but
yeah. But like if you're going to do that, people are going to want tickets. Like is it open to the public? Like is it a joke? Like it's hard to
yeah,
tell with social media these days. Like is this just a funny thing cuz everyone knows like Canada versus USA is like a funny thing or like I don't know. But yeah, 10-day break. First game back for most teams is Valentine's Day. And then they only go to the 28th for regular season. It's pretty quick
that
here.
is quick. So they play
That's like
how
2 weeks worth
how
of
many
games.
games are they playing then? Just 20?
Well, it's 2 weeks worth of games. So they play mostly Wednesdays and Sundays. So
So they got
Valentine's
10
Day is a
now.
Wednesday.
Were they at 10?
That would be
12?
one, two, three, four more games.
Yeah, that's a short season, sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe we can make like a postseason game. They play one in Minnesota. I mean, I'm assuming, knock on wood, I don't want to be bad luck, but I'm assuming Minnesota makes a postseason. There's only 6 teams, so how do you do a, was it just down to four? But then
I
how do you
imagine they
have,
would do the top four.
but then that's a pretty short playoff, right? It's
There's only
just like
six teams.
2 games,
So,
right?
well, I mean, if I don't know what they do for a playoff
Oh, best of
series.
three,
Are they gonna do best of three, best of five, best of seven? I
best of
assume
seven.
that's what they
Who
do in
does best of
the
seven?
NHL.
Oh my God, best of seven?
You gotta be a warrior to play in the NHL.
Aren't you tired? Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
watch 7
If you
games.
win a Stanley Cup, you
Oh
get what?
no.
If you win a Stanley Cup in the NHL, you have 2 months.
Here,
It's a month and a half off, and you go in
let me
training
pull
camp.
him. It's best of
So I'm
seven. How many
guessing,
times?
you would do. I think it's
So you have to
4 rounds.
3 games or 4 games.
Well, it's best of seven, so you gotta win first to four.
So you have to win 4 games in a row to keep it as short as possible.
Yeah, 4 out of 7.
Oh my God. That
Yeah,
sounds miserable. I don't want to watch that much. That's too
that's
much.
the bbest time to watch
That's too
NHL.
much.
Like almost any sport, I love playoff
You do too
any kind of
much.
sport.
That's too much. No, no, no.
So I don't know. Maybe there'd be the best of three though, because their game schedule is what I'm gonna guess. It's gonna be best of three.
How do you have a roster deep enough to deal with that many injuries?
Guys play hurt. I should yeah. I should show you some of the injury reports that come out after the NHL season is done because you don't make those reports public during the season.
Mm.
Um, but it is amazing what some guys will play through in the NHL.
You played with a broken collarbone.
Yeah, but that's hockey. It's a different mindset than, in my opinion, some other sports. I am terribly
I
biased.
don't know. Like I like the PW. I don't want a best of seven in anything. I don't
Yeah, I
want
don't know. I'm guessing it would be a best of three series. Just because of their schedule as it is and length, that would make the most sense.
yeah, how would you have like a short season and then a best of seven
Yeah, I
playoff? That
mean,
would be silly.
when you've only played each other maybe 8 times.
Yeah, that's silly. Yeah, I would think it'd be like best of three. That would make the most sense to me.
Yep.
Best of seven, that's crazy.
You didn't know that?
Oh my God, no. When
Oh.
have I ever watched like an entire playoff series of the
Yeah,
NHL?
good point.
I literally don't care about men's hockey unless you're involved.
Mm.
I'll watch you play hockey. Fun fact, I John and I have been together almost 8 years. I've seen him play hockey once, one time, and that was I was very pregnant with Bellamy, so not long ago at all.
That was during
Yeah,
the Coast Guard tournament thing.
yeah.
Yeah, we won. We won the tournament. But yeah, that was my first time playing in 2 years with like gear on, and
Mhm.
I was struggling.
No, you did great. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I got today. Talking about the star of the week point system. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Just a couple weeks here till we're headed towards playoffs, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll catch a playoff game live. But it's a busy time of year for you. I mean,
yeah, we've got our end of our season coming in playoffs as well. So
but it coincides right at the same time because your end of regular season is the end of February too.
yeah, end of our season is the beginning of March, so we
Mm.
go longer than
Yeah,
them.
your last game is March 2nd,
Mhm.
March 3rd, whatever. So, thank you to our fans, our subscribers. We hope you glean something from this. Now, I think it's really interesting for people to be able to like hear some of the insights about like how sometimes coaches' contracts work, players' contracts work, like um, what coaches do to turn things around in the locker room, that sort of stuff you don't really get in a lot of other sports podcasts. So share with your friends.
My mic.
Find us on Instagram forward focus PWHL. And we will see you next time. If you live in Wisconsin or buying or selling a home, Mara Valancourt, Century 21 Toma.